This is a video that I am making to help you find and understand the course wiki that we are doing together for one of our final projects. So here we are in the Blackboard page for the Crime and Justice course. And in order to find the wiki, we're going to go down to Tools, click, and then scroll down to Wikis, click. Now here is our criminalization and COVID-19 wiki. We're going to click on that, and that's going to bring up the wiki. There are 3 pages that the wiki has. This is the first, Infection Management and Movement of Freedom. There is now also an imprisonment and infection, and a price and production controls. So let's start with the infection management and freedom of movement. So there are 2 things here. One has already been added, I believe, by Cash, even though I have modified it since then because this is not my first attempt at this video. So here is what I have added. Just at the beginning of each of these, I have given you some idea of what the relevant things I'm taking as falling under infection management and freedom of movement. So for instance, quarantines, isolation, social distancing, shelter in place, or also sometimes called snow day orders. All of these are ways that a state can criminalize certain kinds of movement in order to prevent the spread of infection. So those are the things that at least I'm thinking you might begin thinking about and looking up in order to look at the question, what justifies the state in criminalizing certain forms of movement in order to mitigate infection transmission. So I have also given you some recommended sections, and by sections here I mean sort of sections of the wiki. Right now, this is like, there's nothing happening here. It's just like this little bitty thing, but I'm hoping that by the end of the semester, we will have actually quite a lot of information here that could actually be particularly useful if we wanted to make this public, and that's something that I think we might seriously consider talking about. I think this could be a useful resource for people that we might put together. And as a result, it's going to need some structure in order to be accessible to people who are using it. And here are just some sections that I'm recommending. Of course, we might find, or you might find, that there's a better way to structure this information. That would be welcome, but some stuff that you at least might include, even if you don't put them in their own sections like this. Current, past arrests, prosecutions. So if anyone has actually been arrested, prosecuted, or punished by a state, either the United States or some other state, so these don't have to be specific to either our current coronavirus situation or the United States. So if you find current, past arrests or prosecutions that are relevant to freedom of movement violations, any relevant legislation or case law. So for instance, if there are any pieces of criminal code that are relevant to criminalizing freedom of movement in times of infection, if there are any court cases, that could be interesting as well. And again, these don't have to be limited to the United States. If there are academic articles or academic discussions that you have found about the permissibility of this sort of legislation, very welcome as well. If you have found any, there are going to be, I suppose, a lot of opinion or editorial columns, so editorial boards in either newspapers or magazines, if they've written anything about these sorts of legislation, forms of legislation. If you found opinion columnists who have written opinion pieces about this, that's welcome too. any politician statements or public figure statements, including union, trade group, or interest groups. And also white papers are very useful for these sorts of things. So white papers are pieces written by typically academics or public-facing think tanks that have not the purpose of contributing to an academic literature, but the purpose of being read by policymakers and politicians and the public to inform them about things. So white papers can be super useful. So these are the things that I'm thinking you can be looking for and structuring the Wikipedia, the wiki entries about. So you can see, again, so Cash did this, and there are, again, 3, but let's go in now and look at how you can actually edit this. So we can go into here, edit wiki content. This is going to open up the Wikipedia, the wiki sort of editing section. And I've already added here a link. So Cash had the URL here, the information, but it was not a clickable link, and so I did that. And how I did that was I highlighted it, I saved it, I copied and pasted, or I copied rather this thing. And here, this here gives you a little insert link. So I clicked that, and it brings up its own little box. It turns out that I've already done this. So here the URL is already in here, and I gave it a title. You can either open it itself into this window. You can give it a new window. Anyway, there are all sorts of options you can do. We just were opening it here, and I'm just not doing any of this. But if it were new, you could update, but we already did this. That would give us a link. You can see there are all sorts of other things you can do here. So for instance, you can do all sorts of interesting things with the font. If you have a preferred font that you'd like to give us, if you'd like bullets, these can give us a list, some numbered list, all sorts of things, highlighting, erasing. If you also would like to insert things, you can create inserting files, you can insert images, you can insert videos or other media. If you are crafty and you want to actually just deal with the HTML or the CSS code, if you want to actually link to a wiki, an actual wiki page, you can do that as well. There are all sorts of things you can do here, and if you want to insert a YouTube video, you can add that here as well. And all of this is going to be useful to make the wiki actually visually, it doesn't matter that it's visually appealing, but visually processable, right? So if you think about actual Wikipedia pages, those pages have sections and subsections, and the font size differs, and there are images inserted at various points to give you references and things like that. All of that will be useful for your reader to sort of be able to process the information that you're giving them. So once you have done this, you're going to click Submit. That is going to update and also sort of free the Wikipedia page or the wiki page for editing by someone else. So when you are editing the wiki page, no one else can edit that wiki page. So this prevents someone worrying about 2 people making changes at the same time to the same thing. Only one person can access the wiki page at a time, and I believe for, I think 2 minutes after, it's blocked. And so if you try to access it, it will tell you that someone else is editing it. What this means is when you edit it, you know that at least when you're doing what you're doing, no one else is sort of also in potentially like duplicating what you're doing. But it's also now going to report that I don't think I actually did anything. So this is just showing the last edit I made. And it's saying I am the person who most recently edited it. That's true. There are some other ones, though, where other people are the last people. So Cash is the last person who edited the imprisonment and infection. She did this yesterday, and she has given us an article and some information about that article. This is something that is super useful now at the beginning, and you can decide whether or not you want to keep this sort of structure in discussing articles, or you can find some other way to include information about articles. I'm going to leave that up to you. And the last person to have edited the price and production controls page is Alice, and she also edited this yesterday. And you can see, so again, this is my information, just price gouging, rationing, nationalization of industries, production orders, etc. But Alice has found the South Carolina law against price gouging, and she has included the statute of the criminal code and what sort of it says, or at least a quote about what it says. It might be nice to have the full information. And this, I suppose, this is the steps that come from the article here about how to go about proving, I think, that you have been the victim of price gouging. And another article. So she has two pieces here. And so one thing that you also, I think, should know is not only does the wiki keep track of who last modified the wiki and when, but it also keeps track of how, well, let's see, of the contributions. So here's where we want to go. So it keeps track of the kinds of the page version, so you can go back and see what it looked like before, but also who has done what to it and how many. So here, these are the only people who have edited the wiki so far, Alice and Cash, and we can see Cash has edited, thought I could do this. Maybe not. Maybe I can only click myself. That's excellent. In any case, I have saved 2 pages. I have not written anything, so no words modified. And these are all things that I can see as well. And when you make 2 edits, it will send it to me for a grading. And I'll grade as many times as you edit, so don't think that you have to, make your 2 edits amazing so that you get the full 20%. But that is, that's what's going to determine your grade. And so this is, let's see, we can say compare the versions. So here's something I did. We can see I explained what I had done earlier. So Cash had done something, and I changed it. So here is, let's see. The comparison details. Unclear. Oh, here we go. So what was changed, I suppose, is that I added this link, and so it's underlined that I have changed this text, but note it is not added or removed, and so it's neither green nor red because the text was already here. Remember, I have actually modified no words, and so that change was only underlined. It was not, here, let's see if I can go back. It was only underlined. It was not either in red, which would mean I removed something, or in green, which means I added something. So this, you can sort of see what changes have been made to the pages. And this, I think, is probably enough at the moment to get us started. So remember to get to the wikis, you go to Tools, Wiki, Tools, and then you're going to scroll down here. The wiki is going to be down here. Click on the wiki, and it's going to pop up, decriminalization in COVID-19. So if you have any questions about this, please send me an email. I'm hoping that you will make at least 2 contributions to the wiki a week, and that's sort of substantial contributions like content, not formatting. But I'm also hoping that the formatting actually allows the content that's being added to actually be accessible and evident. So I'm hoping that you'll be both adding content and making care to make uniform and visually appealing that content. If you're better at doing the formatting, you can spend more time doing the formatting. If you are terrible at formatting, don't just leave it to someone else to do and spend your time trying to get more content. But just try to make sure that you are getting at least 2 pieces of content a week, and then balancing content and formatting. If you have any questions, again, please email me, and hopefully this video has been useful. Okay, well, I will see you all on Thursday, and I look forward to it. See you soon. Bye.